He can't cut the mustard in the world we live in. I'm much better than him in deal making. Instead, I want to talk about the attacks on Israel by the European Union and by Barack Obama. He could have said to the people in Iowa who are very religious, do you know that your President Obama just endorsed the European Union labeling of Israeli products the same way that Jewish businesses were stigmatized and targeted for boycott way back during the Nazi era? Did you know that the European Union issued a ruling that bans the Made in Israel label on goods produced in Israeli communities in the West Bank? And do you know that President Obama supports this racist act by the EU? Do you know what Obama's administration said? He does not consider labeling products equivalent to a boycott. And he does not consider settlements to be part of Israel anyway. Isn't that what Trump should have said yesterday instead of attacking Carson? Shouldn't he have talked about Hillary Clinton supporting partial birth abortion during her entire life? Shouldn't he have talked about the fact that innocent babies are dismembered and their baby body parts sold because of laws put in place by the Clintons when they were in power? Shouldn't he have talked about the fact that the number one donor to Bill Clinton, the man who headed up the Democrat National Committee during Clinton's years when Hillary was co-president, a man who started with a parking meter company in the Bronx, then wound up taking over Loral Space and Technology, and then with government contracts, knowledge, and grants, used the technology that he got for virtually nothing from the taxpayers, and he gave it to Communist China, who said they would not use this rocket technology for anything other than peacetime usage, weather satellites, satellite communication satellites. But they then turned around and gave this technology to the People's Liberation Army, who can now launch a missile to Los Angeles or Chicago or Dallas. That's something I would like to have heard yesterday instead of talking about Carson's belt. And so I say something is wrong with this picture. And I say so considering myself a supporter of Donald Trump. He didn't lose my support for one mistake. But if it happens again, then I'm telling you something is really off the rails here, and he ought to fire his advisor. Whoever told him to go down this road, she should be sent back to whatever dumb college she came from, because she's the exact kind of stupid person that's ruining America. Donald Trump keeps saying he doesn't like stupid people. I'm sure he doesn't. He's a very bright man. He said that when he's president, he'll hire smart people, like Carl Icahn to be our trade negotiator. I like that. That's good stuff. Then why does he hire stupid people who advise him to attack Ben Carson in the most, well, in the boxing world, if you hit someone below the belt, you know that you get penalized for that? I still watch fights. I love to watch boxing. And there are some fighters who are dirty fighters. You know that? They continuously hit the other fighter under the belt. They do it as a matter of course. Or they headbutt, making believe it's by accident, and they cut the other man's eyelid open. And once the bleeding starts, you can't stop the bleeding, no matter how good the fighter is. Usually, he'll lose the fight. I don't like dirty fighters. I don't like headbutts. I don't like hitting someone in the gut underneath the belt. So I'm going to say this was a mistake. I'm going to say that Donald Trump was tired, and he accidentally hit Carson under the belt by accident. But if it happens again, we're going to have to come to another conclusion.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7287. Savage. Warning, the Savage Nation contains adult language, adult content, psychological nudity. Listener discretion is advised. And now, America's most exciting radio talk show, The Savage Nation, home of unprotected talk, borders, language, culture. And here he is, Michael Savage.
Like the top of my head gets chills on it when I listen to this, because I look back, I look forward, I ask myself, how did this happen? What are the children of America going to inherit when you have a lunatic like this in the White House, opening the floodgates, flooding America with the third world? And I don't mind the third world if you bring in people from the third world who can contribute to the country. But you bring in deadbeats, you bring in criminals, you bring in terrorists amongst them. And only one man is talking about it like that, and that's Donald Trump. So we all cheered Donald Trump, didn't we? When he said he would close the floodgates, and he would not admit the flotsam and jetsam of the world. He'd be very selective. We even cheered him when he said he would deport the illegals, which I don't agree with, by the way. I'll go on record again. I do not agree with him. It's never going to happen. It's simply for the campaign trail. He could have said what I say in Government Zero in one of my 40 points to save America, which is deport the illegal aliens who are in prison. 1/3 of the prison population, about 28-30%, are illegal aliens. Deport them. Start the buses running that way with them. Don't start with the families. Because if you start with the criminals, you'll see a giant sucking sound going south because many of their families are here, even though they're here. Donald Trump could have said that. I disagree with him on that. But we cheered him when he said he would deport illegal aliens because no one else dares even say what he would do to stop the flood. In fact, if you look at the Republican candidates, they're all in favor of open borders, with the exception of Ted Cruz. Rubio's an open borders ice cream man. Fiorina lost the election when she ran for the governor here because she was in favor of open borders. I'm surprised no one brought that up. But don't start in with the hitting him below the belt. So I'm going to act like the referee now in a boxing match. And I'm saying that Trump gets penalized for that low blow. He's been given a warning and 1 point's been taken away from him. He didn't lose the fight, don't get me wrong. He made a mistake. And what am I talking about? If you just joined the show, he made a mistake by hitting Carson in clip 1. Listen for yourself and tell me if I'm wrong.
He said he's got pathological disease. He actually said pathological temper, and then he defined it as disease. So he said he has pathological disease. If you're a child molester, a sick puppy, you're a child molester, there's no cure for that. There's only one cure. We don't want to talk about that cure. That's the ultimate cure. Well, there's two. There's death and the other thing. But if you're a child molester, there's no cure.
Why is he going down
They can't stop you. Pathological, there's no cure. Now, he said he was pathological. Okay.
So Trump does this. I said it's a low blow. I would say it was an accident in the middle of a fight. There are boxers who hit below the belt by accident, by the way. Then there are boxers who hit below the belt on purpose. He did this by accident. And the proof will be he won't do it again. That's the whole purpose of this exercise on today's show, which is I am trying to send a message to my good friend, my candidate, Donald Trump, saying, don't do it again, Donald. You're bleeding people who will vote for you. They're not going to follow you on this, down this road. They don't like this. Nobody hates Ben Carson. Can you tell me anyone who hates Ben Carson? Can you name one person you know who hates Ben Carson? I never met anyone who doesn't like him. Of course, the vermin in the media attacked Ben Carson viciously once he became a serious candidate. And now, of course, they're all defending Ben Carson because he's Donald Trump's opponent. So the Salenterates in the media, they hated Ben Carson. They made a mockery of him. All the great liberals, guess who's coming to dinner? And all that. No one dislikes Ben Carson. Nobody dislikes him. Now, what's astonishing to me is that Ben Carson would humiliate himself a while ago and go on that idiotic show, Meet the Depressed, with the garbage man's son, whoever runs it now. It used to be run by the garbage man's son. Who runs it now? Chuck Todd, the guy with the beard. He grew the beard to look intellectual. Chuck Todd, a stooge of the Clinton administration, has Ben Carson on, and he seduces Carson to say things in clip 23 that are now haunting Ben Carson. Listen to 23.
I have plenty of energy, but, I am soft-spoken. I do have a tendency to be relaxed. I wasn't always like that. There was a time when I was, very volatile.
Oh, don't go there.
I changed.
Stop.
As a teenager, I would go after people with rocks and bricks and baseball bats and hammers. And, of course, many people know the story when I was 14 and I tried to stab someone. And, fortunately, my life has been changed, and I'm a very different person now.
Well, now, so you see what happened when he trusted Chuck Todd? So he made that mistake. The media is the devil. If you look at the wreckage in America today, don't blame Obama, blame the media, because they created Obama and they let him get away with this. They enabled him. They're enablers. They're enablers. They're all sick puppies. You talk about pathological. The media consists of the most pathological people in America outside of mental institutions are considered respected members of the media, in my estimation. Now, that would have been a valid statement to make by Donald Trump. He could have talked about them that way and suggested castration for the members of the media who have castrated America's values, but he didn't do that. So I think I've made my point, but then it gets worse. Again, I'm acting as the referee in a boxing match. Listen to clip 3 and tell me this was not a mistake by Mr. Trump in clip 3.
How dare the press not believe me that I went after my mother with a hammer, that I hit somebody in the face with a padlock, that I tried to stab a friend of mine whose name was Bob, but now it's changed. Whose name was Bob. He was a friend, but now he's a member of my family. Oh, the knife broke. There it is. It's laying in the... Oh, sure. So what he's saying is that these series of events, and he goes into the bathroom for a couple of hours, and he comes out, and now he's religious. And the people of Iowa believe him. Give me a break. Give me a break. It doesn't happen that way.
All right, another low blow. That's number 2, warning 2. Questions Carson's religious epiphany. Sorry, low blow. It doesn't help the Donald Trump candidacy to do this, is my point. My point is not to attack Donald Trump. It's to steer Donald Trump away from these icebergs. Whoever is advising him to go on the attack against Carson should be fired. Whoever the 26-year-old moron is that he hired, who is misadvising him. And I tell you as I stand here, Donald Trump is very sensitive to criticism. He will hear what I am saying today. I wanted to get to him. And this criticism is offered as a message of peace. Please fire the moron, stupid person who told you to go after Ben Carson that way. Get rid of her. Send her packing. Send her back to the Hillary camp as quickly as possible, Donald. Send her back to Hillary Clinton. He should have attacked Hillary. He should have attacked Obama. He should have attacked liberalism. He should have talked about the losers on the college campuses who are running wild in the streets. He should have talked about ISIS and what he would do when he becomes president. He should have talked about the fact that the national organizer of the Million Student March is a liberal liar who went to a $30,000 a year high school. That's what he should have been doing. He should have talked about how Israel's being marginalized by the crypto-Nazis in the European Union. That's what he should have talked about. He should have talked about the fact that Asians are being discriminated against by blacks on college campuses, as exemplified by safe space activist shut down immigrant Asian student speech after she says blacks were racist to her. Here, a Asian girl said that blacks have been racist to her. All she was doing was trying to say that everyone, including blacks, need to be tolerant to each other. But guess what happened? They shut her down. That's what Mr. Trump should have been talking about. Should have been talking about every damage that Mr. Obama has done to this country in every sphere of America. I could spend 3 years talking about zero leadership, zero strategy against ISIS, zero military, zero education, zero culture, zero immigration, zero religion, zero science, zero business sense, zero liberty, zero police. That's what I would have done. I wouldn't attack somebody like that. What did he gain by attacking him? Now, you may say, well, why are you attacking Trump? How are you helping? I'm not attacking Trump. I'm trying to send a message to Donald Trump to don't go down this road of attacks on any of the other candidates anymore. It's not playing very well in America. It sounds good. It feels good to attack people. It's viscerally satisfying, especially when you're a billionaire businessman and people are stupid and you can run them down and make them scurry out of the office. It feels great to make them run out humiliated. It's a great power trip, but it doesn't work on the national stage. I didn't say become a milquetoast. I didn't say become a patsy like Romney and talk about you do the laundry in the house. I don't say have your wife get up there and say you're a great guy because you do the laundry like Romney's wife did. She sank his campaign, I think, more